There's a guy who's blocked on my YouTube channel now because I have a policy of blocking people as soon as seeing their username starts to make me feel nauseous, and he had some truly terrible advice for me. He said I should keep my hair a natural color and wear my clothes properly because people are more likely to listen to you if you look trustworthy. Now, I think he's out of his mind, but let's give it a shot. Alright, now you may have been taught, like this guy was, that in order to be persuasive you have to dress professionally. And this is like if you took good advice and rounded it to the nearest whole number, it's kind of the rhetorical equivalent of saying that pi is exactly 3. And just like in a lot of math, it's impossible to know completely correct answers to most questions in communications, but we can make reasonable approximations that get us better information. And the 3.14 version of this advice is that how you look will impact who decides to listen to you. And like, this isn't entirely within your control. We all know bigotry exists, right? In classical rhetoric, this is part of what Aristotle called ethos. Ethos is often rounded down to the nearest whole number of credibility. The idea is that it's about your audience thinking that you're competent enough to have good information for them. But another huge part of ethos is your audience thinking that your interests are aligned with theirs. You could be the most obviously competent person in the entire world, but if your audience thinks that you stand to gain by deceiving them on the subject you're speaking on, they're not going to listen to you. People who tighten their neckties all the way to their buttoned top button come off as just as untrustworthy to me as I'm sure I do to them, and I have to do the same conscious work that they do if I want to take what they have to say seriously. So if you're thinking about your fashion choices when you're getting ready to present, you really have to think about it in terms of your goals as a communicator. For my part, I have 2 goals in this series, neither of which are served by trying to look like a closeted investment banker's self-loathing boyfriend. One is to grow my Patreon in the face of the looming TikTok ban, the rising cost of living, and threats to humanities funding. To that end, broad appeal is useless. Being in 1 million people's top 100 most trusted communicators won't pay off enough for me to pay for the internet I use to communicate with them. Conversely, being in 5,000 people's top 3 favorite creators would pay enough to cover my research agenda for the rest of my life. In internet media, specificity is an asset. You've probably even heard the pi equals 3 version of that advice, that creators should find a niche. My other goal is to improve communication strategies in communities I'm connected with where I see those skills lacking. That goal is inherently political, and to that end, being listened to by people who look at me and think, you should be different, is actively counterproductive. If you've been confused about why I don't dress like this when I teach communication, I hope that helped. And if you're that one guy from my YouTube comments, I hope you step on a Lego.